All right, folks, Vitek here from Metal Wani, and with us today we have legendary Chris Boltendahl of Digger. How are you doing, sir?
I'm really fine. Thank you very much.
Now, Healed by Metal, a perfect name for an album that reflects, passion or compassion and love for metal. And I'm sure you guys must be super stoked to finally have it out, in the next couple of weeks for your fans to basically start New Year on a damn good note.
Definitely. We are very proud on this record because I think it's a very classical Gravedigger record with all trademarked of the band.
Mm-hmm.
And 2 years ago, we played a big festival in Moscow, in the famous Gorky Park. And I want to describe in a short story how this Healed by Metal title come up to us. So it was a big festival with a lot of bands, and beside the festival area, there is a hospital. And after 10 bands, I stand there with my tour manager, Richard Peach, and I ask him, hey, Richard, do you think that all people are dead now in this hospital because they listen to heavy metal music at its loudest since hours? And he looked at me and said, hey, Chris, see it this way. Now all the people are healed by metal. So that was the birth of the idea to this title and to this record.
That's awesome because it obviously features a more direct approach to the rock and roll and the classic heavy metal side of the band, leaving let's say some of the most epic and orchestrated parts already, which is characteristics of your sound. So is making an epic or more straightforward album something you guys deliberately thought of prior to the recording process of this record, or it just came out naturally?
Most of the things that came up naturally because we did something we didn't made a long time before, because the last time when we composed all the songs with the whole band was in 1996 when we recorded Tunes of War.
Right.
And I say to the guys, we need something special again. I don't want to sit in the front of a computer and play all the stuff in the computer. I want something natural. So let's meet again. Everybody prepared guitar riffs and beats and lyrics like me. Mm-hmm. And then we meet in April. We meet in the rehearsal studio. And then for 7 days we were there and wrote the complete record. So it was, after 20 years again, a new experience.
Absolutely, and the record in general, has got that, that very like honest, true metal attitude, and shows that the heavier side of Gravedigger. Probably, I've not seen you guys doing it since back in 2001, I guess. I mean, it's been like 15 years where the sound is honed and there's an attitude in the music which is even like it reflects a sort of a great sound, more like a return to the Reaper sort of stuff. So it's raw, it's visceral. Was that the sound you guys were looking for to capture the organic essence of Gravedigger?
Yeah, for sure, because we did a lot of this epic stuff in the past, all these concept CDs, and since Return of the Reaper, we are back on track. Mm-hmm. And we grew up with this kind of metal. We never listened before to this epic stuff metal we did in the 90s, And when we started with Heavy Metal Breakdown and Witch Hunter, it was straightforward heavy metal, classic, like Priest or Maiden or our heroes from the past. Right. And we always tried to get out with this kind of metal. But often the record company said, hey, you are so successful with Tunes of War, make another concept CD. And after Clash of the Gods, we said, now it's boring. We want to go back to our own roots, so we're going to go up for a straight heavy metal album again. And now we did more or less 3, because Exhumation was a re-recorded one. And we kept some mood, some atmosphere from this album too in the new one.
Absolutely, because let me take songs like let's say take the title track itself, Healed by Metal, or even the 10 Commandments of metal. They sound like an ode to the nostalgic true side of the genre, and as we have already seen in your compositions back in the day, like Headbanging Man or Heavy Metal Breakdown. So have you tried to rescue that feeling, and do you think that the majority of the new heavy metal bands out there are losing that spark?
I don't know because we did now for a very long time, and we had a lot of experience to write this kind of music. And in our band, we don't follow any idols or something. You know, we are our own idols, more or less. So for us, it's easier. But on the other side, it's we for us it's difficult to keep this high level from album to album, and I hope that we could reach it also with a new one.
Absolutely. And then, I got to talk about Axel because he's playing with more confidence with each album you guys have released and has already become an important asset to the band with his, really great, unique guitar tuning and the proficiency. So on this record, especially, he seems to be like, completely at ease with the song structure and delivers a great overall performance. Has he sort of built a prominent role in the songwriting department now?
Yeah, he's one of the main songwriters, like Jens, and we all three are composing the music, and I wrote the lyrics for the music. When we sat down in the rehearsal room for the new album, we tried to figure out what is the most important thing in the music of Gravedigger, and at least we came up with it's a good guitar riff and a good chorus, and that is the essence of Gravedigger's heavy metal music.
Absolutely. I want to talk about the song called When Night Falls because that like the tune is extremely vicious. It's very powerful, and I think it's the Axel right there who's tearing everything into pieces with those breathtaking riffs and probably was given a little more liberty as compared to songs like Call for War or The Hangman's Eye.
Yeah, I think all the songs on the new album they sound like a unit, but they are so different. But at the end they sound like a unit, and I think that is the magic. And When Nightfall is also one of my favorite songs because also the lyric, it's about a concentration camp. Right. It's a couple were arrested in a concentration camp during the Second World War, and they found their love there, and they died, but the love couldn't die because they are so intense, And for me, it's a very special song also.
Absolutely. Now, coming to your vocals, I mean, words feel short when I talk about it. I mean, you're right on there with the energy you bring in. The lyrical concepts are very diverse. So how was it personally for you to explore on this record and push your voice even further?
Yeah, through all the years, my voice is a little bit lower now than when I started in the beginning in the 80s, And now I learned more to sing with my brutal voice, and that is that is some kind of art I'm following, and it makes a lot of fun to use this voice in this style, and I try to make it more perfect from record to record, and I give a lot of passion and intense to it.
Absolutely, it's really good to hear. And you're entering, you're now into the fourth decade and a journey not every band can witness. So, when you look back, what's the most important lesson you've learned as a heavy metal fan and as a musician?
Never give up and trust yourself.
That's the most important thing, isn't it?
Definitely, because I never gave up in my career, and I follow it straight. I'm a Capricorn, and I follow my direction, and I want to keep the band on this level where we are now, and I give all my power and passion into it.
Absolutely. The sound of Gravedigger has been, has developed over the years. I mean, your riffs are, one can clearly hear that this is the classic Gravedigger sound. So as you guys have progressed over the years, where do you feel has the band gone in terms of, let's say, crossing boundaries and doing stuff out of box? Because the sound of Gravedigger is right there, but you always tend to kind of push yourselves a little more, try to bring in some influences here and there, especially like Axel does or Jens does. So where do you see when you look back at the beginning classic albums of Gravedigger and as compared to Healed by Metal?
I think Healed by Metal you can compare with Heavy Metal Breakdown, and also from the straightness like the Gravedigger album, the self-titled one. And also a little bit of Ballad of the Hangman. Ballad of the Hangman had also this more simple song structures and good choruses. But I think Hyper metal is more or less one of the more perfect albums of the band, you know, where everything sounds like it should be, and that is something that made me and the boys really proud. That we reach that goal. That everybody said, okay, this sounds like a unit, and this is really perfect.
Really good to hear that. And Chris, you've been like, you have been a major part of contribution has come from you and the band in terms of development of metal throughout the last 3 decades. I mean, the European scene knows it, the American scene knows it. So what's your sense of the current state of metal when you talk about the global metal scene?
I think that the metal scene is more difficult than in the 80s, that is for sure. I think that music is nowadays not a kind of culture, more like fast food, you know, with all this streaming stuff and YouTube and Facebook and all those internet platforms. And when I was a boy, and I grew up with all these bands, I was more excited to get a record when it was announced, you know.
Right.
And nothing was released before that, or perhaps 1 week before you couldn't see the cover somewhere, or there was no platforms like internet or something like that. And at this time, music was more culture, and nowadays I think it's a little bit, it's go faster. Yeah. Everything's going faster, and you have to follow that, not losing the connection to it, you know. I think that is the main difference, and I would prefer to go back to the 80s and make everything more, excited.
Right. And how has Gravedigger coped up with the change in the technologies? I mean, do you guys, and I'm sure, I've spoken to a lot of bands who love, obviously everyone loves what happened in the 80s and everyone were independent, and there was a sort of, the value of physical CD was like enormous as compared to what we have now. So when you look at that technology-wise, streaming, like you said, YouTube, have you guys been picking up, trying to get into the digital world, or you still, stick to the old school sound?
Yeah, we are using also this kind of technique also for the recordings, digital recordings, and makes a lot of things easier. Also with the internet, you can reach people very fast, but the complete exciting moment at the end, before a new record is released, that is gone, I think, and I think that must. Yeah, I offered Napalm Records for this record. I said, "Hey guys, we don't release the cover up front, you know. Everything is released on the release date. The album, the cover, and the video. Everything's coming out on one day." But they got some cold feet, you know. And then they said, "No, we can't do it. Everybody's working this way, and this is a modern way, and blah blah blah." I say, "Okay, good." But I want to go back to the roots one day and release everything on the day of release. You know, that is the meaning of a release date.
Absolutely, I totally agree with that. Indeed, I totally agree with that. Lately, you've seen a lot of bands, reuniting lately for a tour, especially the classic heavy metal and the hard rock bands. That have been, initially they say that they don't want to do it, and somehow they end up doing one tour that leads to another tour, and somehow the album also comes out, and it seems to be an endless thing. You've been in the industry, so as per your experience, if you had to say what is the most important reason behind this decision, is it purely for the fans, or you think it's just about the money?
No, I think for me it's also a question of money, because I'm living from music. But on the other side, the sense of our business is are the people outside. If they don't buy your records then, or visiting your concerts, you are dead, no, more or less. And you have to keep both things, records and live shows, on the same high level, and because people are paying for that, they want to see a good show. And that you have to understand as a musician, because you're delivering and the people have to get it, you know.
Absolutely. And let's say the bands like TNT or the Rat, they never played for a decade, and here they are now doing reunion shows. So that's where the question arises, because I was having a chat with Anthrax Scott Ian recently, where he said that it's purely money oriented. Nobody gives a damn about fans.
No, I think I can't agree with him. We do a lot for our fans, and we are looking what they are interested in, and we try to give them a good time when we play live. For us, it's we don't want to send them a message, a political message or something else. We want to give them entertainment, and that is the most important thing for us.
Absolutely. You and Blind Guardian are like perfect partners when it comes to touring. I mean, you've done a lot of tours together. You went to States, and what's the plan for this record to be taken on road?
Oh, we are planning in the moment. We are planning a tour in January. We start in the middle of January here in Germany, Austria, Switzerland. Mm-hmm. Then we have the 70,000 tons of metal again, and the boat cruise. And then we go over here again with the German Austria Switzerland tour. Mm-hmm. And in March, April, we go back to South America. And then from May till September, we're playing a lot of festivals. And then we see what happened, because perhaps there's another American tour in 2018. I have no clue, but we will see.
That would be really great, Chris. So if you have to sum up the record in a sentence, Healed by Metal in a sentence, what would you say?
Healed by Metal is pure classic heavy metal made in Germany. Thank you so much.
Made in Germany. I like that. I'm right now in India, so I don't know whether you would anytime get an opportunity to come here, but whenever you do, I'm sure you will have a lot of fans out here waiting to see Gravedigger live for the first time.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Thank you so much, my friend.
Thanks, Chris. You have a wonderful evening ahead.
Okay, you too. Yeah?
Bye-bye.
Keep metal. Bye-bye.